When you're adding fields to your tables in your CatBase database, you've got a number of options you can choose from. So let's create a new field and see what we've got here. First of all, the most important thing is the field type. So there are 7 different types of field. First of all, a Boolean, which is a yes or no or a true or false type of field, which will appear on your data entry forms as a checkbox. Date, which is for storing dates like date of birth or date of joining the club or whatever. Integer, which is a whole number, in other words a number that doesn't have any decimal places. Real, which is a number that does have decimal places. String, which is an alphanumeric field which can hold up to 255 characters, and you would use this sort of field for things like names, address lines, names of towns and counties and that sort of thing. Text, which is an alphanumeric field of unlimited size. So a text field you would use for descriptions and those kinds of things. And then time, which is obviously for time. Now it's important to choose the right type of field for the kind of data that's going to be saved in it. For example, if you're going to be storing dates, you should choose a date field, because if you don't, you won't be able to do the kinds of queries and sorts that you need to do on that type of field. For example, you wouldn't be able to query for all records that were modified since January the 1st if you didn't have the date in the date field. So give that some careful thought, because you should make sure that you choose the right type of field. Once a field has been saved, you can come back and change any of these other properties except the field type. So it's quite important to get that right from the start. Now there are various properties you can choose for each field. The available properties vary depending on the type of field it is. So let's look at the string field for an example. First of all, the name. So field names can contain alphanumeric characters, spaces, hyphens and underscores. They cannot contain characters like ampersands, exclamation points and that kind of thing. So let's say we're going to create a field here for the postcode. Now I'm going to say, right, postcodes are not very long, so I'm going to change the maximum length of this field from 255 to, let's say, 10 characters. So you won't be able to enter more than 10 characters into that field. Now let's look at these properties. First of all, we've got indexed. If a field is indexed, then it will be much faster searching and sorting on that field. And this can become very important if you've got a lot of data. Is a picture name. Now if you're going to be storing picture names in the field, then you need to select this box so that CatBase knows to treat that field as the source of a picture, and it will be available when you're setting up your publishing style sheets to set up picture settings for it. Uppercase would force everything that's entered into that field to uppercase, so that would be handy for our postcode example here. Lowercase obviously does the opposite, forces everything to lowercase. Unique is only available for certain types of fields and they must be indexed. So a unique field can be useful for, let's say for example, you're entering company information and you know that every company in your database should be unique. They all have unique names. So you can select this option and that will prevent somebody from accidentally creating a duplicate record with the same company name. Now it'll only search on exact matches, so if someone misspells the name or something, then it won't find it, it won't consider it as non-unique. So that's something to keep in mind. Mandatory. If you select mandatory, then this field must have something in it in order for the record to be saved. If there's nothing in there, you can't save it. Next we have choice list. Now choice lists let you set up lists from which the data entry people can choose an option. So we've got one here called county already set up, so we can create our list with the county names in it, And when the data entry people are working on the database, they can choose the county from a pop-up list. It will appear on the data entry form as a pop-up list, very similar to this. And that's useful to prevent people from entering things with inconsistent spelling. Okay. The lists are managed here on the admin tab under the lists topic. Remove gremlins. Now, sometimes when you copy and paste text from, say, an email or from a Word document, you can accidentally pick up little hidden characters which you don't want in your data. You may not be able to see them, but you will see them when you publish the data and you find you've got strange text appearing within your data. So if you think that's likely to happen, you can choose this Remove Gremlins option. Check spelling. Now, CatBase has a built-in spelling checker. You can choose which language the checker uses in Preferences, which is here under the admin tab again. Default is English, but you can choose from another language as well, and that's quite useful for say descriptions and other kinds of text like that. Locked. If you select the locked attribute, then once the record has been saved, it can't be changed. This particular field cannot be changed except by a person with administrator privileges, including in the quick search. Now, on the data list pages, there's a quick search box at the top of the form, and that lets you do really quick searches on one criteria. So, for example, you could do a quick search on somebody's last name or a company name. Now, by default, that only works on the key field in each table, but if you want the quick search to be active on other fields, you just need to select that option, including quick search. And a field must be indexed in order for it to be included in quick search. MultiStyle Text is an option that lets you have different styling within the text in a text or string field. So, for example, if you choose this option, you'll be able to select some text and add an attribute like bold or a color or a different font to it. Trim white space. Sometimes people accidentally add spaces, return characters, and those kinds of things to the beginning or the end of text. If you select this option, anything like that will be deleted. So your regular text will remain, but if there's a space, a return, or a tab character either right at the beginning or right at the end of the text that's entered into this field, it will be deleted if you choose that option. Run a script. Now, we can create scripts that can do just about anything you need. So you might say, okay, every time a product price is modified, we want to update the tax and the total fields for that product. So we can write a script that will do that for you. Default value. So you might want to have, for example, let's say our field here is called listing style. Everybody gets a free basic listing, so we'll make it basic as the default value, and all new records will be given that value, basic, in the listing style field. But you'll be able to change it. You would probably add a choice list to that field. In fact, let's go ahead and do it. We'll call it listing style, and then you'll manage that listing style list and add things like bold listing or paid listing or whatever you want to do there. Help tips. You can enter a tip that will appear when the person moves their mouse over that field, like this little yellow tip that you can see here. It's exactly like that, so you can enter whatever information you want to go in there. And then comments. These are just this is just a field where you can enter a comment to describe what this field is used for. The comment is not used anywhere else, it's purely for your own information.